On for now, time to stretch the world's fastest estate.
On this week's Driven, the crash test dummy family help us out on the Driven 100. But what have they done to Mike? Jason belts right past the DIY store in the insanely fast Audi RS4 estate. Want to be 30 grand better off? Let Mike's School of Economics show you how. But first, who's a sandwich short of a picnic? We catch the last summer race for a family day out at the seaside in the Driven 100.
It's a sunny day! Hooray! Time to pack a picnic and head to the coast. But when you've more nippers than seats in the family hatchback, how are you all going to get there? In one of these multi-purpose vehicles or MPVs. Loads of seats, lots of room, the perfect family car. But which is the best MPV you can buy? This week we're heading to Margate to find out.
Leading the Driven holiday convoy is this, one of the original people carriers, the Toyota Previa. It's all new, it's the first update since 1990. It's as large as ever, it's got 7 or 8 seats and 2 very useful sliding doors. The styling is called New Wave, and if you want one, you're going to have to wave goodbye to £22,950.
If you're going on holiday, then you could pack your trunks in this, the new Ford Galaxy. After 5 years, it's had a freshen up with a new nose and a funky dash. It's a real Euro MPV. Volkswagen and Seat also build similar versions of this on the same production line with different prices and longer warranties. However, it's the Ford that's the big seller, and this 2.3 litre Z-Tech will only get you a fiver's change out of 20 grand.
And I'm here in the Hyundai Trajet. You heard it right, Trajet, French for journey. And to be honest, that's the only memorable thing about the car. But it's here for value and not style. All the seats and gizmos for 7 grand less than the Toyota. Are we there yet?
No, for the last time, we're not there yet. Right, how much picnic paraphernalia and family can we get into these cars? Penny introduces us to a new husband in the wet corner test.
Don't look so worried, mate, we're not going to crash.
And how will our 3 family movers cope with this big coach in our time exposed to danger test? But first, Jason gets to grips with the utterly mad Audi RS4 estate. It should be locked up.
Not too long ago, when I was younger, I was a bit crazy. I had no patience. I didn't want to amble around. I wanted to get there fast, really fast. I want to make loads of noise, and what's more, I wanted everyone to notice. There comes a time in life where you've got to put all those childish toys away. You've got to stop going to nightclubs. You've got to buy a house. You've just got to grow up. But every now and then, I just want to go mad. And this is just the dogs. It's the new Audi RS4. Yes, it's an estate car. Yes, it looks sensible. But trust me, it ain't far from it. It's just insane.
Audi has pulled out all its techno tricks and turned to one of its new acquisitions, Cosworth Technology. They have shoehorned this deeply impractical 380 brake horsepower engine into this harmless body shell to make a real wolf in sheep's clothing.
Well, it'll do 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. It'll double that in 16 and a half, and it's good for 155 miles an hour. However, that's limited, and it'll do much more than that. This is supercar territory.
With this amount of power, you need massive stopping potential. The RS4 has just that. It'll stop dead from 70 miles an hour in 50 metres, and that's a full 25 metres short of the highway code guidelines. The RS4 is packed full of gadgets and gizmos to help the driver keep that immense power under control. There's even an ESP system, which in the event of you overstepping the mark, will apply braking and close the throttle in order to bring the beast back into line.
So, how does it handle? Well, it's got 2 sides. It's got a naughty side and a safe side. To enable naughty side, push ESP on the dashboard and you can get the thing into more shapes. than Play-Doh. However, to enable safe side, press the button again, enable ESP, and you just can't get it wrong. The car just sorts it out. It's so clever.
So, the RS4 is completely barking. But what exactly is it for? Well, I think it's for limit-free stretches of the German Autobahn. But nonetheless, Audi have pre-sold 400 here to those who are constantly late or temporarily insane for around 46 grand.
But is it a true driver's car? I'm not so sure. There's a couple of things about it I don't like. One is the steering's just ever so slightly too light. It understeers a bit too much. In fact, you can hear it now. But the major criticism I've got about this car is when you're going up through the gear, the engine holds onto the revs too long, so it's nearly impossible to make smooth, quick gear changes. Audi has succeeded in making a supremely refined road rocket with a boot for the shopping. Its only real downfall is the huge engine hangs onto the revs too much during gear changes, which means I can't drive it how I want to. No racing gear changes here then. But when you feel a moment of madness coming on, this is the perfect remedy. I only like white bread!
Now it's time for our time exposure danger test, where we're going to rate our three cars' ability to overtake safely on busy two-way roads.
Now, we like to think of ourselves as one big happy family on Driven, but to make this test more realistic, we're going to be overtaking with a car fully laden with 7 passengers. Meet the crash test dummy family.
And they're not very pretty, particularly the one in the middle.
Yeah,
very funny. But let me tell you, these two adults and kiddies weigh exactly the same as their human counterparts. Perfect for adding extra weight to this test. And best of all, we won't be stopping every 5 minutes for a wee. Let's go!
You know the score. You're stuck behind a big, slow-moving vehicle. Your MPV is loaded up with a family, new holiday wardrobe, a ton of spaghetti hoops. You see a gap, but how can you be sure that your car will get you past safely?
Of our 3 cars, the Toyota Previa should be the fastest. Let's see how it does.
Right, this is the biggest of the 3, the Toyota Previa. It's got a 2.4 engine, 16 valves.
And it's got 156 brake horsepower, so it's the most powerful of the 3.
It's also the quickest of the 3 at 0 to 60 time, just over 11 seconds.
Shut up, guys! I'm trying to get through here! Right, no, come on,
yes.
mate. Come on!
Well,
easy.
on paper it was going to be the quickest, and it did just breeze through that overtaking test, didn't it?
Tell you what, for such a big car, it goes well, eh?
Did a dummy just talk in the back?
Has the Ford Galaxy got the grunt to beat 6.4 seconds exposed to danger? Time to find out.
Right then, this is the brand spanking new Ford Galaxy. This car's got a 2.3 litre Z-Tech engine, 16 valves.
And 145 brake horsepower, so it's bang in the middle of the other 2 in terms of power.
0 to 60, 12 and a bit seconds, so not bad there either.
Right, we're coming up behind our coach, 50 miles an hour, bang on the button.
I don't think it will do the job quite as easily as the Previa.
Come on, kiddies!
Oh, we're going to make it
We can run
just.
it a cone.
There you go.
Is it me? Or has Mum in the back gone off right and look at her hair?
Good Lord, she's turned into a rock star.
Now the Hyundai, the slowest car here. If I was a cone, I'd be very afraid.
Right, the cheapest of the 3, only 15.5 grand, but it's also got the smallest engine of the 3. It's only got 2 litres, 16 valve.
And only 133 horsepower, so I think it's going to have a job to get past this coach.
0 to 60 is not that good either, 13 seconds I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's an age.
I've got to tell you guys, I can feel all that extra weight with my dummies in the back.
5 dummies in the back.
Foot flat down, I'm burying the floor here, trying to get past the coach, and it's a struggle. Come on, it's not going to make it. No. Don't look, Pete.
I've dropped me drink and everything.
The Trajet gets through, just a second slower than the winner and the most expensive of our 3, the Toyota Previa. Hyundai will be bringing out a more powerful V6 model, so hang on for that or pack some extra pants for future trips.
We've told you the list price of our group test cars, but what about any deals out there? The Toyota is very new, so sorry, no deal. Haggle for a 6% discount on the Galaxy, but we reckon Ford's prices will come down further, so don't buy yet. And you should be able to get at least 5% off the Hyundai Trajet's price. Not a lot, but enough to pay for a week in Margate. For the latest on what you should be paying for your new car and the best deals around, log on to 4car.co.uk and check out our bargain price finder.
After the break, Penny and her new husband go for a spin, plus how to get a quality Range Rover for focused money.
British Airways, 21st century air travel.
2 litres. Eureka. 2 litres into 1 Clio. It goes. Renault Clio. Size matters.
Toi, si Dieu ne t'avait modelé, il m'aurait fallu te créer pour donner à ma vie sa raison d'exister. Toi qui es ma joie et mon tourment, tantôt femme et tantôt enfant, tu offres à mon cœur chaque jour tous les visages.
So you didn't phone them?
No, David, I did it on their internet site. Look, it's done and we're covered.
But my dad's always
yeah,
said
well,
that...
I'm not your dad, all right. Look, the AA searched through lots of insurance companies for you. It takes a few minutes, we get the best deal and everyone's happy. Except you, apparently. And your dad.
I was with some friends the other night. All they seemed to be doing was moaning about how high their pension charges were. Moan, 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 moan. Quite right, too. Come on.
See things differently in the 21st century. Introducing the world's first fully flat beds in business class. Now available between Heathrow and JFK.
Welcome back. Now in a Driven 100, a slippery time ahead for Penny and her new family.
For my crash test family, no car journey is complete without a head-on collision into a brick wall. But for most families, that's not really an option. So to see how well our 3 cars will look after you and your family in tricky road conditions, I'm going to put them through the wet corner test. It's all right, everything's going to be just fine. This test simulates what would happen if you approached a slippery S-bend too fast. How would your MPV cope if you slammed on the brakes while trying to steer out of trouble? So first up, it's the Toyota Previa. Now, this car comes with ABS brakes as standard and also an EBD system, electronic brake distribution, which is a clever system, and it allows each wheel to brake independently to give you the best possible stability. So I'm doing 50 miles an hour as I turn into this wet corner, and oh, I'm going to hit the brakes really hard, and it locks up a bit and slides around, but as soon as you're back on the power through that corner, it settles up brilliantly. It's very reassuring. Well done, Toyota. A surprisingly uneventful journey for the crash test dummy family in the safety-conscious Toyota. But how will they feel in the one test car without EBD as standard? So now it's the turn of the Ford Galaxy. Get your hand off. Now in here we've only got ABS, no fancy gadgetry, just bog standard ABS. So we'll have to see how this looks after me as we go through the wet corner at 50 miles an hour. There we go, turning in and braking hard in the wet. Oh my word, it's absolutely hideous. I've just run over all the cones. I couldn't get round the corner. That was absolutely terrifying. Imagine if that happened on the road. Well, we certainly leave no cone unturned in this show. A dismal performance from the Ford. Can the Hyundai do any worse? You never do the ironing, I do all the gardening, you never help me around the house. And he doesn't answer back. It's brilliant. Now in here we've got ABS brakes as standard, but also that EBD system similar to the Toyota electronic brake distribution. So let's see if it's going to handle me and my family as we go through this wet corner. There we go, 50 miles an hour. So I'm going to turn in. I've got EBD on my ABS and oh, it's not quite as bad as the Ford. Are you all right, mate? He's looking really scared. It was really scrappy under braking and marginally better than the Ford Galaxy, but you know what I failed to understand is if Toyota can get that Previa handling so well through a wet corner, why can't everyone else, especially when you're carrying your most precious cargo, your family? The Toyota has EBD and ABS as standard, as does the bargain basement Hyundai. So come on, Ford, when we're talking about an 8-seater family car, ABS alone just isn't enough. Still to come, how much stuff can we stuff into our MPVs? But first, Mike teaches us how to love depreciation.
It's a great feeling pulling out of a dealer's forecourt in your brand spanking new pride and joy. The new controls are true mystery to you, and the stereo a combination of static and radio free. It all feels so great, but how much is it costing you to ride around each day? Well, this lovely X-Reg Merc will hold its value pretty well, but even so it would have lost around a quarter of its original purchase price in the first 6 months. Each car is different, but if you think that's bad, then take a look at our top 3 diabolical depreciators. In at number 3, mate, the soon-to-be replaced Ford Mondeo 1.8 LX. New, it's 16 grand, but would have dropped by 38% in 6 months. At number 2, the Vauxhall Vectra 1.8 LX. New, it will cost you 15,995 quid, but you can get it for just over half that price, mate, in 6 months.
And slam dunking in at number 1, mate, is this. The Citroën Xantia 2-litre SX. This car new would have set you back £17,185. 6 months later and 10,000 miles later, and it's only worth 8,275 quid, which means you would have lost 8,910 quid and almost 52% of its value. I bet you're pleased you never bought one of these, because it would have set you back nearly 50 quid a day, and that's before you put petrol in. And that's where you'll hear me and the others each week banging on about the cost of ownership. We take into account petrol, servicing and depreciation over 3 years or 36,000 miles. In fact, the time it's taken me to tell you this car's just travelled 1.2 miles, so it's lost another 50p. Now, most of us actually can't afford to buy a brand new motor, and this is where we look upon the used car market and we can use depreciation to great effect. Now, one of the first things to note is to try and buy a motor that's around 3 years old.
The reason is, after 3 years, the speed of depreciation slows down. The car reaches a price plateau and a steep downward spiral of depreciation levels out.
So a car costing £25,000 in 3 years' time may only be worth £12,000. In 4 years, £11,000. And in 5 years, £10,000. Got it? Well, that's just the beginning. In order to really understand the effect that depreciation has on the used car market, we have to go back to school. Right, Brewer, if you want to be a proper car dealer and use depreciation in your favour, then there are 3 important factors that you should be aware of. Number 1 is think big. Big cars, Brewer, are cheaper at the moment. Nobody wants to feed a big thirsty engine, and the higher price that you'll pay on fuel, you'll offset against your cheaper purchasing price. Now, number 2 is options. Options depreciate faster than the car that they're bolted onto, so when you can go for the highest spec car that you could possibly afford. Now, thirdly, popular cars or anything that you can rent also affect used car prices. Can anyone tell me why? Anyone?
Yeah, I know, sir, I know. That's because, sir, every 6 months, ex-rental companies saturate the market with the cars that they bought cheaper in the first place, and they can pass on the savings to me and you.
Right then, Brewer, before I let you go, I've got a little bit of homework for you. I want you to go down the auction and buy a 3 or 4 year old bargain. Class dismissed.
Who wrote that? I've come to ADT auctions in Blackbush. There are 1,500 used cars here available every day. Now, I wonder if I can find any bargains tucked away in this lot.
VW Golf, great car. Now these aren't their residual values, but it's 2 new on an S-plate. XJ8 Jaguar, is it? Yes, it is. S-plate again, 2 new, but would have depreciated loads. Range Rover, 4.6 HSE, 1995. What's it like inside? It says it's done 76,000 miles. Got a nasty chip there in the screen. What's this one worth? This could be right up my street. This one, books, between 12 and 13 grand, depending on condition, but new, you ready for this? It was 45 grand, it's lost over £30,000, a great saving for me. In fact, I'm going to see if I can buy it.
Number 4A. Here it is, a big Range Rover, specced up to the hilt, according to my teacher, an ideal second-hand buy.
13.3, your bid. 50 under the 13,550 I sell.
That's enough for me, that's as high as I'm going to go.
It's yours at 13,550.
Yes, bought it. 45 grand new 4 years ago. Not in my lifetime. I bought this car for 13,550 quid, which means I've saved myself near on 31.5 grand. Depreciation, I love it. That teacher, he taught me well.
For more info on depreciation and the latest car news and reviews, log on to 4car.co.uk. And from midnight tonight, a full road test on the brand new Land Rover Freelander, V6 and TD4.
We're all familiar with the Great British Picnic. Whatever happens, you can guarantee it'll end in tears, whether it be rain, wasps or sand in your sarnies.
So we're going to see how well our people carriers cope as indoor picnic sites. They've all got picnic tables, cubby holes and cup holders, but which one is the most practical?
Well, we've got the Miller family here and all the ingredients for a great day out, and we're going to see which one of our 3 family mobiles can get the most stuff in. And we're going to start with the Toyota Previa.
Where are you going to sit?
This is a sliding bench seat. You need to put the seat forward if you want to climb in, and then we'll push this bench seat back.
That's it. Comfortable? Hold on. Mind your feet. Mind your feet. We'll slide it back and then we'll slide it forward. You've got plenty of space in the back. You've got some cup holders. But we haven't got them nice little natty picnic tables because that would have been handy right now, wouldn't it? We could have eaten off of that.
And there's no space left for luggage or bits, is there?
No, none whatsoever.
8 people, but no luggage.
Right, so try to remember what it was like in here because we're going to move you all out of this one now and into the full Galaxy. Right. Come on in.
The first thing to notice with the Galaxy is, because they're individual seats and not a bench seat, it's kind of difficult to get everyone in. We can't squash people in.
But what you have got is a picnic table when they're flat and 2 cup holders, which is great if there's no one sitting here, but in this instance there will be. So I'm going to stick the chairs
up. So whatsoever.
So Edna, what about all the space you get in here then?
Well, you've got nice big pockets here to put stuff in and cubby holes in the door to put things in, so great.
It's better?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And lastly, let's try the Hyundai for size. Now this is brilliant, they've put a net here just to hold everything in, and it actually appears to have a slightly more space than the other 2 as well.
And you can put stuff in there as well.
Yeah, I know, it's really
nice.
To stop it flying around in the back. So that, very good.
The other one had a bigger picnic table for the plates to go on, but this one, the plate's hanging off a bit. And if you go over a bump, the plate will fall down.
It would go straight in your lap, wouldn't it? Yeah. But you're too greedy anyway, so we'll get you a smaller plate.
So which one would the Millers choose for space, comfort and practicality? The Toyota with its easy access for 8 people but nowhere to put your sausage rolls. The 7-seater Ford, it has more cubby holes but to get the best picnic space you'll have to leave one of the kids at home. Or the big booted Hyundai, sensibly laid out but with picnic trays for smaller appetites.
So the Miller family have tried out all 3 of our people carriers. Which one is your favourite?
We like the Hyundai.
And are you all agreed on that?
Yes.
Yes? Everybody, but why?
Well, there's plenty of storage space, there's pockets to put things in, and it's very comfortable.
More leg room, more storage in the boot, got the net, nothing to fall out of. Just a great one.
Great. Well, that settles it. The Miller family would choose a Hyundai Trajet to take their family on holiday.
It's that time again, the Driven 100. You know the drill by now. First, drivability and the Toyota.
Now, naturally, MPVs don't handle as well as cars, but all the same, the Toyota is a smooth drive.
And on that time exposed to danger test, I felt safer in this than I did in any of the others.
And the wet corner test, it absolutely blew the other 2 into the weeds.
It gets 17.
Around town, the Ford was fine, but on the wet corner test, it scared my family rigid, a hair-raising 15. And the Hyundai?
Well, I had the displeasure of driving this car. I drew the short straw. It is just a shed.
I don't think it was as bad as you two think it was. I think you've been too harsh.
Well, maybe we are, but I'm going to give it a terrible score.
It gets a bone-shaking 13.
We've been pleasantly surprised by our MPVs. They used to be just ugly boxes on wheels, but now many are desirable in their own right. The Toyota and the Ford get a well-deserved 17 apiece. But is the name Trajet the only stylish thing about the Hyundai?
Hyundai desirability, not two words which go together in my
I guess it must be 14.
Practicality, and these cars really are the definition of the word. I can feel some high scores coming on. First, the Toyota.
This one, for me, scores so highly over the others because it's got sliding doors. Why would you buy one of these with doors that open outwards where you need masses of space to get in and out?
22?
Yeah, 22, yeah, fine.
Missing those sliding doors, the Ford and the Hyundai aren't quite as practical, but still pack a versatile 21 each. Now, cost of ownership and the Toyota.
Its cost per mile is 65.7p.
It's a lot of money.
That is a lot of dough, isn't it?
With the highest cost of ownership, it only scores 12. The Galaxy guzzles 52p a mile, so it gets a more reasonable 14. But romping ahead in this category is the Hyundai Trajet.
This car's £15,499 to buy, and it runs at 35 pence a mile. Cheap.
Yes, it's brilliantly cheap. Really affordable, practical car.
Cheap.
But still, it gets an affluent 18.
Of our three family mobiles on this week's Driven Picnic by the Sea, the Hyundai Trajet is the half-eaten sausage roll with a score of 66.
The Ford Galaxy is the filling in the sandwich, in second place with a savoury 67.
And this week's Driven 100 winner, let's open a bottle of pomade for it, the all-new, safe and refined Toyota Previa with a score of 68.
So what's the recipe for a happy family then? Well, this week there's not much in it. All our MPVs do exactly what it says on the tin. However, if your budget can stretch to it and you want a bit more refinement, we'd go for the brand new Toyota Previa. We'll see you next week.
Next week on Driven, fed up with higher petrol prices? Then buy a smaller car. We're testing 3 real bargains, all cheap to buy and cheap to run. But can you have fantastic miles per gallon and a car that's fun to drive? Well, we find out when we take our pint-sized group test cars on a pint-sized track.
And that is next week at 8:30.
And once again, if you'd like more information about the subjects covered in Driven, check out the Channel 4 motoring website at 4car.co.uk.